Hey YouTube, what is up? If you've been on the internet at all lately, you know that the Oculus Rift is a center point for a lot of discussion, a lot of attention, and it's not really because something good happened, it is really because their price point is a lot higher than most people were expecting and more than they let on it would be. But I don't want to make this video biased really, I want to show you both sides so you can understand why the price is actually what it is and why people are upset, but also you can understand why the business put the price point at that point as well. So, without further ado, let's get cracking. The reason people are pissed is because the Oculus Rift launched pre-orders for $600 US before taxes and before shipping, and yes, you do have to pay shipping on a $600 product, which nowadays seems a little unheard of. And with taxes and shipping, it's around $700. Some people are saying around $630 depending on their state, but on average, I've seen that with taxes and shipping, as an average across the entire United States, it's about $700 US. If you are European, however, the starting point is 700 euros, and then with taxes and shipping and that stuff, it's 742 euros, which is the equivalent to 810 US dollars. So on average, you're paying basically $110 more than Americans are for the same product, which is a little iffy. The real point of it that kind of seems a little shady to me is if you're Canadian, it is basically $914 without border fees or taxes, but that does include the shipping. And with border fees and taxes, it's around 1150 Canadian dollars, which is the equivalent to 814 US dollars. And it seems kind of fucked up because quite literally, I live in New York State, and you can, literally walk into Canada, and simply crossing an imaginary line makes you pay $110 more. It's not even like Canada's that far. They literally share a border with the entire United States. I mean, paying $110 more is stupid. Actually, $114, I'd say. That's pretty stupid, though, if you think about it. And if you're Australian, you get really fucked. Basically, it is $1,100 Australian, if it doesn't include any taxes, shipping, none of that stuff. And with it, it is 1,260 Australian dollars, which is the equivalent to 883 US dollars. So basically, if you are an Australian, you are paying $183 more than an American would to have it be shipped to their front door, which kind of sucks. I don't understand why they're making people pay for shipping, at least in the United States. It seems a little weird because they're going to be selling Oculus Rifts in stores, and they're trying to incentivize you to buy it from them online and to pre-order it, but I really don't see a point. It says it includes a free game, but if on average I'm paying like $60 to have it shipped to me, that's the price of the game, so it's not really free when I think about it that way. So I'd rather just walk into a Best Buy if I was buying an Oculus Rift, which I'm not, but if I was, it'd be cheaper to buy it in a store and then buy the free game. You'd still be paying less pretty much, and I don't understand that. So there is some disparity with the pricing between different countries, and that has led to a little bit of hate. But the one thing that kind of pissed people off the most is that originally there was a ballpark figure for the price of the Oculus Rift, and they said it'd be approximately $350. And the reason that pissed people off is because now they announced that it's $600, and that, that is not near $350 really. That's a lot higher. That's pretty much double the price. So a lot of people were pissed about that. The reason that, I guess his name's Palmer Luckey, said $350 though, was because originally there were news agencies that misunderstood what he was saying with the price point of the Oculus Rift, where he was including the price for like a computer to run it, and he said it was around like $1,500, which makes sense because the specs for a computer you need pretty much $1,000 computer to run the Oculus Rift, maybe a little more than that, but he just gave the ballpark figure of $350 to give news organizations a number to say besides $1,500, because $1,500 looks really bad in the press, and $350 does not. So that's the reason that the $350 thing originated, and that's where that number came from. He was just giving a figure to tell the news to stop saying $1,500 pretty much. So that's why that happened. But there's also a quote which I find really funny. Palmer Luckey actually was quoted 2 years ago as saying, "If something is even $600, it doesn't matter how good it is, how great an experience it is. If they just can't afford it, then it really might as well not exist." And that is the, I guess not ironic. I don't know if that's ironic, because ironic nowadays people confuse the definition of it. But if that isn't, I guess I'm going to call it ironic. Fuck it. If that isn't irony, I don't know what is. He's actually commented on him saying that 2 years ago, and he said times have changed, things are different now. And basically what changed is he was acquired by Facebook. But yeah, he did say that originally. He was acquired by Facebook, and what happened when he was acquired by Facebook, he became a multi-millionaire, which is good for him, but the Oculus Rift shifted from originally, I guess its premise was that it was going to be bringing VR to the masses, and instead, once they got Facebook's support and Facebook's endless money pit to play with, they basically said, fuck it, let's make the best VR we can make, and let somebody else make a VR for the masses. We want to make the top-of-the-line best VR we could actually make. And I can understand why they would want to do that, because a premium product sells well, more so than an average product would, but if you don't have the price at a reasonable point, you're not going to sell it well. They tried to go for like how iPhone is probably advertised as premium. It's the, it's the nice phone. It looks nice. It feels nice in the hand. It has a premium feel to it. That's probably what they were going for with the Oculus Rift. Not saying, the iPhone's not really a good example, I guess, because the iPhone's technology is actually pretty old, but the Oculus Rift, it is, state of the art, really new. They have, 90 frames per second refresh rate per screen in the eyes, which is really good. It has open back headphones that it comes with, which if you don't know what open back headphones are, they're really, really good versions of headphones pretty much, where you have a larger soundstage so you can hear better in a three-dimensional space, which is pretty necessary for something that's VR because you are projecting yourself into a virtual space. So they are including really good technology, and I really don't think they're making any money on the Oculus Rift, but they didn't want to lose any money, so that's why they settled on the $600 price point. They could sell it at a loss like consoles do, like Xbox One and PS4, where they sell at a loss but then make it up with stuff like PS Plus and Xbox Live, but I don't see a format, working for Oculus, so they probably decided, we're going to go for, instead of, going back and losing money from the start, we're just going to try and break even. We're not going to try and make any money, so that anything we make from that point on is still positive. We're not losing anything in the process. Now, that's not really a bad idea, but it's kind of tough. I mean, it also requires a really good PC as well. I don't know, it's really hard to stress that. You need a pretty banging PC, like, not top of the line, but at least, new middle tier PCs that, would be considered top of the line maybe a year ago. You need something similar to that. I'm not talking about like GTX Titans or anything like that, but you need either NVIDIA GTX 970 or an AMD 290 for your video card, and for your CPU it needs to be at least an i5 Intel 4590. So that's, both of those, the 4590 video card, not the video card, the 4590 CPU is around $200, and then both the video cards I named before, the AMD and the NVIDIA, are around $350, I'd say. So in total, right there, just for your CPU and GPU, that's $550. So on average, I'd say the PC you need to buy is at least $1,000, which is, I'd say a mid-tier PC price. But to think of it in total, you would have to pay about $1,600 without taxes, without shipping, just for the parts and the Oculus Rift itself. And the one thing that gets me is the Oculus Rift still doesn't come with the, I guess they're calling it the Touch now. The Oculus Touch is the motion 3D controllers that allow you to manipulate stuff in virtual reality by moving your hands around. It looks almost like a PlayStation controller cut in half with like a weird semicircle half moon around it. And those were the VR controllers that they showed off, but it doesn't come with the Oculus Rift either. You get an Xbox One controller with it. So you're going to have to, if you want to have the full VR experience, later purchase those controllers at a later date, which kind of sucks because if you can imagine, that's probably going to be about another $100. So it's a little tough to focus on the price point for them, because even though it's $600, they're not really selling it at a loss. $600 isn't the most they probably could have tried to sell it for, but without including the motion controllers with it, I feel like $600 is too high. They probably should have shot for $500. And then when, the motion controllers came out, some for $100, that way the total is $600. The way they're selling it now, you're going to have to spend, at least like $800 US just to get the full Oculus Rift experience, which is a lot of money in my opinion. And if the PlayStation's, Project Morpheus or HTC and Valve's Vive could undercut them even by $50, they could screw them up so bad, just like how the PS4 undercut the Xbox One when they originally came out, because these are all competitors now, especially the PS4. They have the lowest price to entry just because their system that you need to run the Project Morpheus on is only around $350 to $400 at most. So you can, even if the PlayStation's Morpheus is $550, you're still only spending $950 in total, as opposed to spending around $1,600 without, anything else. So if Project Morpheus and the Vive can undercut them, it's a little tougher. for the Oculus to keep up, because their price point is really high. They were the first ones to announce their price, and I think that's what the issue is specifically. They even kind of predicted that this was going to happen, though, that they were going to have backlash, because before they announced the price, they said that everyone that was an early adopter of the Oculus, I think everyone that bought a Dev Kit 1, got a free new version of the Oculus Rift, and they're going to send it to them for free. They don't have to pay any money. The new $600 version that they released, everyone that was an early adopter that got the Dev Kit 1, I'm pretty sure got one for free. So they were trying to garner support and have people think that they were a good company, good-hearted, helping out the people. But really what they were doing was trying to soften the blow from the hit they knew they were going to take when they announced the price point at $600. Basically, they even knew it was going to be so bad because they pre-planned an AMA, which, if you don't know, is an Ask Me Anything. And they had Palmer Luckey pre-plan an AMA for, I think, the day after the prices announced. So before the prices were announced, they said we're going to have a, Ask Me Anything after the prices announced. So they knew they were going to get a little bit of a backlash, and they were planning to kind of address it and mitigate it with the AMA they were doing on Reddit. But I really don't think they got it as under control as they wanted. They are still selling out units, though, which is good for them, because, if people don't buy the Oculus Rift, no one's going to develop for it, which is basically the Wii U's problem, where it's perceived that no one owns it, so no one wants to develop for it because they don't think they're going to make their money back if they do. But the Oculus Rift is selling out month by month, which is how their pre-orders are going, and I think the first 2 months so far have sold out. So you can actually still pre-order it, it's just you won't get it until 2 months after its official release date, which is good for them. You know that they're actually making their money in some aspects, and it gives developers the incentive to, even though people are saying they don't like it, a decent amount of people are still buying it, they're still pre-ordering it. You can tell because we're selling out already, so it's safe to make games for our console as opposed to making it for other consoles. And that's probably another problem they're going to have too, is not just PlayStation Morpheus, they're kind of in their own bubble because they're still really a console, not a PC. But when you're competing with Valve and HTC, you're going to have trouble, I guess, persuading developers to maybe make something Oculus exclusive or anything like that, because if you own Steam, it's going to be tough to, have someone be like, well, they own Steam, they have HTC making a thing for them already. Maybe these are the people to go with, because I've seen demos for the Oculus and I've seen demos for the Vive, and the Vive does look more impressive. And I know the Vive's going to be expensive as well. I don't think it's going to be cheap. But the thing is, the Vive never said it was going to be cheap. They said it was going to be a premium product. The Oculus changed its mind halfway through its development process, and the Vive never had the fan, I guess, Kickstarter that, started Oculus. So a lot of people don't really feel betrayed by Valve because they are sticking to their word, unlike Oculus, where they kind of switch up their motives a little bit. So the Vive is, I'd say, more of a competitor right now, and if they can even match the price of the Oculus or even undercut it by $50, they'd probably be golden. And the other thing that I was thinking back on is the Oculus Rift actually needs like 4 USB ports, 3 of them being USB 3.0 and 1 being a USB 1.0. And I have a gaming PC, but that thing doesn't have too many ports, so the Oculus, if I plugged it in, would take up a lot of ports. It would take up probably 1/3 of all my ports. Then I got the keyboard and mouse, and then I have, speakers and stuff like that plugged in. So it really does limit what you can have periphery-wise besides the Oculus actually plugged in. So that's going to be a tough one, I think, as well. But at the risk of rambling on anymore, I don't really want to say pretty much anything else, so I'm just going to end the video here. And I want to thank you guys for watching this, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you understand the situation a little better. Maybe you hate Oculus now, maybe you understand them, maybe you like them. If you're going to buy an Oculus Rift, good for you. I'm personally not going to do it right away. I plan on buying a VR headset maybe in 2 years, once the prices are reasonable and there's a lot more competition, because they also announced that the Oculus Rift would pretty much be updated every 2 years like a cell phone is. So I'm not going to really, buy it straight away right now, because there is a price on entry for getting, the latest technology the quickest, and that's really why the Oculus's price is so high. Much like the Xbox One and the PS3, before it, their prices are probably going to drop over time. But with that, I'd like to say thank you again for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to give this a thumbs up and click subscribe, because it's free, it's fun, and I'll see you guys in the next one.